Well, hey, everybody, it is Romania Black. And if you can hear my voice, it's sounding better. It's still a little bit, I'm in the phase. I've been sick the last week, and I took some days off of recording after I was KFC Fallon, which was for the best. Patreon was like, you need to rest. So that was a good idea. I was glad I did that. And my voice had started to come back really good yesterday. I was like, yeah. So I recorded some things and I felt really good about it. But I'm at that stage of being sick where you have this like dry cough. It feels like somebody's taken a feather and they're just tickling the back of your throat, and it makes you just want to cough and like make it stop. But the coughing doesn't really help in the long run. So it's starting to get better. I feel like I'm on the upward trajectory from that. But with that being said, I've got lots of cough drops at the ready. I think I've consumed my weight in honey the last week because I've just had tea with honey constantly to try to help my voice. So I've got that at the ready. It's cooling off right now. And basically, I'm just letting myself slowly but surely get better. But it's been a hot week since I've watched episode 21 of Delicious in Dungeon, and I did not want to wait any longer. And we're going to talk about the cooking segments and all that because I have thought about some of the cooking stuff from episodes 20 and 21 that I didn't do that I want to kind of come back to at the end of this comment segment. So, as far as the comments go, I do have some that I want to talk about from episodes 19, 20, and 21 with you all. I can't believe we only have 3 episodes left of the season, which is wild to me. But El Freya had a comment for episodes 19 and 21 that I wanted to go over with you all. In episode 19, they said, it was nice noticing that Marcelle's Fallon doll is in the nightmare too. I thought it was cute, but if it's symbolizing Fallon as a possession, then it isn't that cute after all. I thought about that because I told El Freya I did not take it that way. I took it as Marcelle treasuring Fallon, that Fallon was like a treasure to her, something that she really loves and that is tied to her comfort, because if you're a kid and you have a doll, your doll is a comfort to you during nightmares. So I took the doll being more like a comfort and something that Marcelle loves. I don't particularly believe Marcelle is possessive because whenever Shiro was around during the whole thing, Marcelle didn't seem to care. So I don't view Marcelle as possessive of Fallon. I do think that Marcelle is like ride or die for Fallon, which is a little bit different, where she's like, I will do anything to save you. And so I do believe that that's the case with that. So I do think that that's the situation. But I don't think that she necessarily views Fallon as an object, if that were the case. So I don't quite agree with that. I think that it's a little bit more wholesome than that. But that's just my opinion. We'll see. We'll see. So then episode 21, El Freya says, it kills me seeing Laios this episode. He's in heaven at the Golden Castle Village, and I'm scared for the monsters. Me too. That Minotaur, me too. Laios is giving off a little too much Frankenstein / Hanji Zoe energy from Attack on Titan over there. Monsters, knowledge, experiments. For science! My poor voice. Y'all. That's way too hot. But yeah, so I did not think about the Hanji energy that Laios gives off, but if you love Attack on Titan, then you probably would agree that Hanji and Laios would be a terrifying combination, actually. A highly terrifying combination, as a matter of fact. So then we have Moomin, who talks about episode 20. For me, the holy grail of extinct animals is the thylacine, or Tasmanian tigers. First, it didn't go extinct too long ago. There may still be some in the wild, although the alleged sightings are mostly hoaxes. We still have the same environment that they evolved in and food sources. The only problem is it's a marsupial, and it is close to impossible to clone by being a marsupial itself. The bite radius on this animal is fantastic, and we're going to talk about that. The last one died because someone forgot to put it up for the night, and it died of exposure to the cold. It's so sad. His name was Benjamin. Here's the thing. When Moomin brought this up, I was flooded with this nostalgic, like just synesthesia reels of imagery, because I was obsessed with Tasmanian tigers for a hot second because they are terrifying. I would be like, you know how in a horror movie there are jump scares that make you go, oh my God. Go look up a video of a thylacine. Go look up a video of a Tasmanian tiger. Its jaw like unhinges and opens up super wide, and it looks like it's not real. It looks fake. It's terrifying. I was like, oh my God, nope. Stuff of my nightmares. I was obsessed with them. And I remember watching a documentary about them, and they still have some embryos and some like fetuses of Tasmanian tigers in like they're in formaldehyde preserved somewhere that they thought one day they could clone them or try to and bring them back. So possibility. I do think that the thylacine is a lot more likely to survive in current environments than like the dire wolves that we talked about in episode 20, just because of the nature of their environment still being a thing. But yeah, like of all ways for an animal to go extinct because humans forgot to put them up at night. Are we surprised? No. And then finally, Shazulander says for episode 20, what Laios did to scare off the dire wolves is actually very common in nature, since injuries in nature can lead to infection and predators would avoid a threatening prey. It's like the nature over nurture moment there. So here's my thing. I have already thought about it. I don't know. I doubt I'm going to be able to cook for this episode only because I don't feel 100%. I really don't want to be hacking up a lung on camera trying to cook. And I don't want to bring my brother over to that environment. So, and because I was sick last week, I'm recording this like the week it's supposed to air on Patreon. So I'm kind of behind. So I had this thought that in mid-May, like we only have, after this week, we only have 2 more weeks of Dungeon Meshi for season 1, which is very sad. The good news is it's coming back in November. So we literally just have to take the summer off. Totally fine. And then of course they would time season 2 coming out with Thanksgiving in the US. So it's just eating food while watching Dungeon Meshi. I'm just ready for it. So I'm excited about that. But I decided, since we're going to be kind of caught up with season 1 mid-May, there are some recipes from episode like 20 and 21 that I might try to do, and any more with like episode 22. I don't know what 23 and 24 are going to give us. I don't know how I'm going to be health-wise, what my timing and scheduling is going to be. But I thought about, because on Patreon, I've had like the full menu videos, which is me cooking. I thought I could do a section called leftovers on Patreon. And it's just going to be like anything between episodes 21 and the end of the season that I don't get a chance to cook. I may go back in May, June, and July and just kind of like redo. Kind of like for the summer, we'll have some leftover meals. We can talk a little bit more about Dungeon Meshi, like for the Q&As, and kind of go from there. So I thought that might be something fun. And plus my schedule is a lot more lax in the summer, and my brother and I can coordinate maybe better for him to come over and help me. So that's kind of my thoughts, to just have a series in like, do maybe a couple in May, maybe a couple in June, and any leftovers in July, and just do that, you know. And then the other thing I thought about was that season 2, the reason why I could even do the cooking in the first place is because I started recording Dungeon Meshi so like months ahead before it even aired on Patreon. So it gave me the chance to get ahead on some of the cooking episodes. Well, I'm caught up now, so that's very hard to do. And I feel like if I'm watching season 2 week to week, it's going to be really hard week to week for me to do the cooking segments on top of filming, on top of getting it ready for Patreon within a week of it coming out to be on time. So, and to have that experience of watching it week to week with you all. So I think the leftovers segment might be something that I do in the future with season 2, and just do like a leftovers of, if there's a recipe I see on an episode, I'll write it down and then I can make it later, and it doesn't have to be necessarily coordinated with the episode. Does that make sense? Does that seem like that would be okay? I know a lot of people like the cooking segments and they really enjoy them. So I don't want to not do them because I enjoy them as well. It's just really hard right now for me to coordinate getting it all done on time to be out in a timely fashion, when I know you all would rather have the reaction on time than to wait around for me just to cook something. So I feel like I might try it with this leftovers thing, see if it goes over well and if people enjoy it, and then have maybe with season 2, the leftovers be a segment that I do kind of on the side around the same time. we'll see. We'll see how that works and if y'all end up liking it. So that's all I have to say about that. But anyway, I'm excited. I did notice as I opened up Netflix that they said this episode has some photosensitivity. So if you are sensitive to such things, take note, because I don't know if Laios is going to be on an LSD trip or what. We are in the Golden Country, so we'll see how that goes. But in any case, we're going to start episode 22 of Dungeon Meshi, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh, God, the Netflix thing is just like, bah, right in your ear, right in your ear. Oh, my God. So we had elves prior. We had elves showing up. We've got Laios in some other dimension. Oh, my God. Turn this down on my end. Woo! We've had a lot happen in the last episode or two. And we still have 2 more episodes to go. But I don't want this season to end. I'm glad I only have to wait till November. But still, I really love this series. And there's a dire wolf. And okay. And Laios trying to get it. Okay. Is that like the Sphinx that's supposed to be? But no. It was a Griffith that was in the heart of the dungeon. It's been chained up, and that was more like a Sphinx, so... Okay, somebody pointed out that the people in the village are here, too. And there's Dagal with the... I'm like, are these all souls that are trapped in the dungeon that could be brought back to life by the mage? I don't know. I'm a little worried. Everybody seems so happy in that OP, but like the implications are kind of scary, and I don't know what to think about it. Oh my. Oh. Aww. The cat laying on top of Chilchuck. Oh no. Chilchuck not used to being a cat person. Oh. Hello, Laios. Oh, the fluffy Japanese pancakes. I like Laios' fit here. They remind me of a character from Attack on Titan, but it would be a spoiler to say who. Oh, damn. Well, hell, we can make pancakes and sausage and eggs. Of course we could. But those look like the fluffy pancakes, so those might be a certain way. Yeah. Oh, you can't taste, just you wait. Aw. Oh. Oh, interesting. Go Senshi doing some like sensory therapy. Aw. Thistle? Thistle? That's their name. Okay. It always starts out as a jester. Oh. Oh. Interesting. Oh, and there's the book. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, well. Yeah, what? Interesting. Oh. Interesting. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Right. Oh, my God. I wasn't expecting this soon. Yes. Oh. Hmm. Yeah, the winged lion. Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow. This was like, oh, good. Stock up on food. Stock up on food at this mysterious place. Hmm. Oh, interesting. That seemed almost too easy. Huh. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Well, so interesting. Oh. Oh, interesting. Don't be blaming Senshi's people. Oh no. Interesting. Interesting. Oh wow. Okay. Ah! Oh no! Oh, poor Asebi. Poor Izu. Oh, got the bow out, ready to go. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. I love Senshi's eyes there. Oh my god. What? Are you sure? Or it could have been a griffin. Oh, Senshi's gonna be like, let's eat it. Okay, yes. I've been getting them mixed up. Wait, why is Senshi afraid? Why is Senshi afraid? But we don't know if it's Fallon. Uh-oh. Does Senshi have beef with griffins? Oh. Yeah. Why not? Well, now wait a minute. Wait. Oh shit. Yeah, no, it's a griffin. It is not Fallon. Oh my god. Shit. Shit. Damn it, Laios! Now's not the time. Oh, you got me worried about my girlfriend for nothing. Girl's about to like take her Oh, Senshi. Oh, sweetheart. Oh, no, Senshi. 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 What is happening? Oh, shit. What? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What do you mean? Girl. Which is familiar. Oh. Ooh. Right. We don't want to do that. Like, oh, so no mushrooms. Okay. Mm. Oh. Oh. Oh, girl. Her cutting like that whole thing of hair off. Girl. Going for that asymmetrical look. Oh, man. Oh, my God, girl. Oh, my God. Love it. Oh. Wait, there's a process to do illegal magic? That's a great question. We don't really know a lot about Senshi. Oh, bullshit you haven't had. You would be, Chill Chuck. You would be. Oh, for 10 years. Yeah. Oh. 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 How old is Senshi? Oh. Oh no. Okay. Oh. Correct. 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 Oh, I love it. I feel like Marcelle should never be around Edward Elric because that would just be a bad combination. She's an enabler. Girl would get so many fines for illegal alchemy. What is it? I love that she's chopped her hair. Oh my God. Is it going to be cute or ugly? Shut. Ah! No! No! Ah! No! Shut up, Laios. Oh. Oh my God. Well, that's probably why they're crazy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Laios, nice. Aww. Aww. Love it. That is freaking adorable. It looks like was that Goodnight Pun Pun or something? Oh no, Senshi. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Shit. Oh. So how we beating them? Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I love that. Oh. That motion. How many of your minds are in the gutter? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh. Oh, I love. Oh, I love. Bitch, yes. 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 Oh, oh, come on. Oh my God. Shit. Oh my God. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, oh no. Shit. Shit. The little tiny one. Oh my God. Don't let him get the magician's book. He's the one that'll go crazy. Oh my God. Oh shit, no! Oh. Oh. What? No! So lame. I had such high hopes, Laios. I was right there with you. She's just putting in her best effort, Asebi. Oh no! Oh my God. Oh shit. Oh. Oh. Holy cow. Are those a, are those the frog boots? Your little familiars. Oh. Oh my God. No! What are you doing? Mmm. Mmm. Oh my God. Wow. Did you make egg rolls? Did you make a damn egg roll? Oh my God. Sky fish and chips. Yeah, see, we might be able to make that on a leftovers. Oh my God. Yeah, hardly superior. Well, at least you got a lot of food. Ha! Oh, that's rare for Senshi. Oh, okay. For about 10 years. Oh, okay. Okay, for various reasons. What? A wife and daughters. Mm. Yeah, I want to know his backstory. Oh. 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 Little baby Senshi. Mm. Oh. Oh, I cannot wait. Oh, I cannot wait. Oh, backstory episode. Backstory episode. Next week. Backstory episode. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Do, 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 do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. With the mushroom now. Herm. Oh. Hmm. Interesting. Well, y'all know I am up for a flashback episode. So this episode didn't go at all like I thought it would. I did not anticipate this episode getting into griffins or getting into familiars or getting into Senshi backstory, which I'm all here for, honestly, because out of all the characters, Senshi is kind of the one that once Asebi was like, so what do you know about Senshi? And everybody went, well, so yeah, we really don't know anything about Senshi. I mean, we kind of know a little bit about Chilchuck. We know a lot more about Chilchuck now, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But we did know a little bit about Chilchuck as being a pickpocket and being hired to do odd jobs and things like that. So we kind of knew his backstory, and we've kind of had a flashback of Marcille at the magic school. And we've kind of had a little bit with Laios and Fallon, though not much. But with Senshi, we really didn't know anything, except he'd been there for 10 years. Now, the thing that Chilchuck brings out, of course, is the dungeon opened up 6 years ago. So Senshi was down there mining beforehand, which the timeline in this series, I feel like next episode, I may have to bring out Whiteboard Coon, or at least by the end of the season, I'm going to need to bring Whiteboard Coon out, because the timeline of figuring out, the show does a really good job of just giving you what you need to know when you need to know it. So it's like, oh yeah, so since she's been down there for 10 years, a decade, Chilchuck's been helping to pickpocket dungeons for 10 years, which makes it seem like there have been other dungeons around, which we've identified because of Kabru in the story last episode, that Chilchuck's been going to other dungeons other than this specific one, but this specific one opened up 6 years ago. So a lot has happened in a very short amount of time with this dungeon in particular. But the question is, how long has this lunatic magician had this golden castle and all this other stuff like messed around with? Like, how many centuries before the above ground people even knew about it? That's the crazy part, right? So we're getting more context into the timeline, and it's kind of making things a bit more crazy to know how long this lunatic magician has been studying magic and obsessing before the people up top even knew about it, which is wild to me. So anyway, we have the start of the episode where they go and have the breakfast. I do love that poor Chilchuck is suffering as many cat owners do, with the cat sleeping on top of them. The only problem is Asebi is a literal full-grown human-sized cat, so that's a problem for poor Chilchuck, right? I do love that Marcille is just sleeping quietly. I don't know if I'm not really a shipper of Chilchuck and Asebi, but if you ship them together, I understand this, and I'm fine with this. Also, bisexual Chilchuck agenda, I guess. So I like Laios's fit with the shirt. It looks great. Now, y'all, I'm sitting here talking about how we're not going to have any cooking on this episode, and then you go and make Japanese fluffy pancakes, and I'm like, well, you got me, gal. So I guess we'll try to make fluffy pancakes this week for this episode. I guess we're going to do that. But I am really excited. I've always wanted to make the fluffy Japanese pancakes. And before starting this discussion, I'm like, how hard are these to make? And I found a recipe online that seems easy enough. So we're going to test that out here. It may end up horribly. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, so Senshi makes the traditional breakfast with pancakes, with sausage, with eggs, things like that. But the Japanese fluffy pancakes, I do definitely want to try because I've always wanted to try to make them. I do like pancakes, so there we go. Now, I feel kind of bad because Yad talks about how they can't taste anymore. And Senshi talks about, well, that's just because you don't feel like you need to eat anymore. You're just making food for the dungeon. When he's like, the reality is you could start eating again if you just practice that muscle memory. And I kind of love Senshi talking Yad through that idea of savoring the food and everything in the dungeon. Now, the question, of course, is because Senshi looked very young when they first discovered the castle and the golden halls, the question is going to be, how old is Senshi? Is he 50? Is he 100? Is he older than that? That's going to be the question. And I'm excited that we're going to see next episode what that actually ends up being. Right. So I am excited about that. That seems like it's going to be a good time. But yeah, he just basically teaches Yad about savoring the texture. I do love Marcille being like really almost like a kid with Asebi, where she's just like wiping her and she's like, oh, look at you, all this. Somebody had commented in one of the previous episodes about how Marcille, we don't know Marcelle's actual age. We know that she was like 16 or so when she went to magic school. So even though she's an elf, she's a pretty young elf, right? Where they were talking about her age and everything. And there are times where Marcille kind of feels like Mother Hen, but then there are other times where she feels very young. So it's kind of hard to determine ages. I don't want spoilers. We're going to talk about that later in this episode because I did have a spoiler in this episode. And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad we got that out of the way now. It's like been the only spoiler I've had in this entire series, but we're going to talk about it when we get to it. So, but please no spoilers. I've been doing so well. So yeah. So then we have a little bit of backstory from Yad about saying he used to sit with his grandfather and his parents. So his grandfather, beside him, stood Thistle. Thistle looks just as sleep-ridden and eye-bag-worthy as he did before. So we find out the lunatic magician's name is Thistle. Well, thistles are kind of annoying. So that seems like a very apt name to be giving him. So Thistle was the lunatic magician. My great-grandfather originally welcomed him to the castle as a jester. And it shows him, like, when he's younger, that they grew up together. My grandfather and Thistle were raised together like brothers. So, okay. I mean, we were talking about in the last episode about elves who have a, maybe unreasonable attachment to mortal people. And with Marcille and Fallon, we also have, Thistle and Delgall. So clearly the two of them grew up together. This is a secret BL. We're not surprised. This is a secret BL series. And Thistle had a thing probably for Delgall, or, those of you that don't want to ascribe to the BL ship are like they're brothers in arms, sworn brothers, just friends. But the fact of the matter is that it seems Thistle grew attached to Delgall. And at the prospect of Delgall growing old, they agreed to start learning magic. They probably delved into the idea of immortality so that Delgall would never die. And then we just went from there. So he ascended the throne and encouraged Thistle to study magic. And Thistle began to distinguish himself. And our realm was once abundant with relics from dwarves and elves. So talking about their kingdom having a bunch of relics from dwarves and elves, I'm sure that's going to tie to Senshi in some way, shape, or form next episode. We'll see. But there's that damn book, the book with all the ancient magic in it, likely including items of black magic, of course. Thistle's thirst for power consumed him and drove him towards magic. And ultimately, he cast a spell of immortality over the kingdom. I mean, the way that his hair is like really long and wavy in the back, it's giving me Griffith vibes from Berserk. But it's also giving me like kind of more femme vibes, which again, do what you want with the shipping. The library also reminds me a bit of the library that was in Marcelle's dreams that she just had with Laios a few episodes ago. So maybe tying Thistle and Marcille together a little bit in that regard. But I find it interesting that Thistle seems to have become obsessed with magic that could make things immortal to try to keep things the way that they were so that things wouldn't change and Delgall wouldn't die, which ends up not working in the end. Now, I didn't really talk about this too much last episode because I think I got distracted by other things going on, but I find it interesting that does Thistle realize that Delgall went to the surface and is gone? I'm just asking a rhetorical question. Why does he keep searching for his ghost when his ghost is past? Or does he believe that even though his body is past, the soul still remains? I don't know. I don't know how that works. There was a part of me that thought that maybe his soul, depending on the timeline, could have resurrected within like Laios or Fallon or something like that. But the timeline doesn't lend to that theory anymore. So I'm curious about that. But it seems like Delgall, dying could have also driven the lunatic magician mad because of the idea that even though you cast the spell of immortality, even though you tried to keep things the way that they were, that's not how time works. That's not how lives work. You can't trap people in situations like that. They eventually go crazy and try to break out, which is what Delgall did. And then he eventually just crumbled away. But I think what separates Delgall from Marcille is that Thistle from Marcille rather, is that with Thistle, they were trying to preserve Delgall and keep him from changing. And in Marcelle's case, it was that she was trying to resurrect Fallon under the circumstances of the dungeon, but it was only because the opportunity was there. I think if Fallon truly was dead and there was not the immortality curse on the castle, then Marcelle wouldn't have attempted it in the first place. But who knows? Maybe she would have. I don't know. Sorry. Choking on the liquid from the cough drop. Blah. My point is, I don't really know if I would agree with a lot of comparisons between Marcelle and Thistle at this point. There are some surface level similarities that I will give people, but I don't know if I would go so far as to say that they are completely, similar, synonymous with one another. But anyway, so that's when Laios is like, I kind of want to talk to him. I want to talk to him about this immortality spell and about all this. And I like that Yad's like, why would you want to talk to him? He's crazy. You can't hold a conversation with him. He's scary. Having a conversation with him is impossible. It was a struggle just to let my grandfather slip away unnoticed, and some were put to death on suspicion of aiding him. And simply meeting the magician is easy enough. The magician's eyes are sensing something amiss in this village. It's only a matter of time before he arrives here. Okay, so it's good to know that he can't just apparate instantly. He has to sense something and then come that way. But the dungeon are his arms and legs, and you're at the heart of it right now. So he has that book and everything. You're familiar with his terrifying power, aren't you? And Laios is like, I still need to try to talk to him. I honestly want Laios to talk no jutsu his way through the lunatic magician to get Fallon back. I want that. I want that so bad. I need to see it happen. I need to see it attempted, even if Laios fails. I need to see it attempted. But who knows? So Yad is like, well, I don't know why you'd want to talk to him, but you would need to seek the aid of the winged lion imprisoned in the depths of the dungeon. You should be able to subdue the magician's power. I guess if you get the lion on board with you. I found it interesting that we have the griffin and the winged lion, which y'all, I've been confusing for the longest time, and y'all have been like, please stop confusing them. And now I know why you said that. So at first I was like, what does it matter? And now I'm like, oh, well, it matters because they're two very different creatures. You have the griffin, the winged, the eagle, have part eagle and then body of a lion. And then you have the opposite, which is like body of a lion and the wings of the eagle. So I think that's interesting that we have these two creatures that are brought up in this same episode that are very similar, that seem to have varying. One seems more intelligent and calm demeanor than the other, but they both seem vicious. I don't know if the griffin and the winged lion is a reference to like Laios and Fallon because they are similar but different, or if it's a reference to Thistle and Marcelle because they are similar and different, or how that works. But it seems like it's a symbolic reference that's going to come up later and make more sense later. We just got to wait for that to actually happen. So who knows? But yeah, anyway. So this whole place was like a little oasis. It's like the ghosts can take you to this little oasis to recharge. This felt like a checkpoint, which we're almost halfway through. I'm assuming halfway through the series. I don't know if we'll go past season 2 with Dungeon Meshi. Back when I started, someone said that this was going to be a 2-season show. And I was like, okay, cool. Awesome. That's why I put it on the agenda to begin with. But I could be wrong about that. But if it is a 2-season show and we're almost done with season 1, stopping here with Yad feels like a checkpoint that you like. It's kind of like in Legend of Zelda. You just stop somewhere and heal up and then go about your merry way. That's what this felt like. And everybody gave them all the food and everything. And then their people, they're like, don't give them too much. Well, they ended up using a week's worth of food to make the familiars. But anyway, so the carriers are the ghosts and end up taking them back. And I love that the people are like, are they the ones? I love that the people in the village are like, so those are the chosen ones to save us? And yeah, it's like, yeah, seems like it. Well, they're like, we couldn't do any better, huh? I'm like, nope. And they all just kind of look dejected. And then that's when Thistle shows up saying, Yad, who were you talking to just now? So interesting. I find it funny that Thistle seems to have a hold on this place, but doesn't have complete, total omnipotent. They're not an omnipotent person in the sense that they can see everything. They just have eyes and ears that can relay information, but their eyes and ears aren't everywhere. So that is good to know. That's good to relay because they didn't know everything that was going down. Okay. Cool. Also, am I wrong to say that Senshi's boots are the ones from the frog episode? Are they the frog boots? Is that correct? So yeah, so they end up going back, and Chilchuk's like, for the umpteenth time, why am I stuck between you all on this big pyramid? And they end up in these halls that are partially gold. So Senshi seems to know this level because I think the flashback is going to bring us back to this. And Senshi's, that's why he knew about the markings on the runes. Now, Chilchuk called them ancient. So what does this say about Senshi? I guess we'll find out. And then, of course, Asebi kind of comes back to normal and then has a flashback of everything that's happened to them. Poor Asebi. Like, Asebi's like, oh my God, I wasn't in control of my body. I kind of do feel for Asebi because that is some straight up body horror. And I was like, I feel for you, girl, because I would not want to, like, be unlike myself and then wake up and be like, oh my God, what did I do? I didn't have control of my body. That would be terrifying. So I don't blame Asebi for being kind of freaked out. That to me was kind of like a sort of downplayed moment where it's like, no, you have every right to freak out, girl. And then Senshi, meanwhile, is kind of asking about the markings and saying, you know, what are those marks there? I need you to draw the symbols on the pillars around us to estimate our approximate location. And he's like, well, these locations typically have them. They're like a code. It means not all dwarves have a strong sense of direction. So the question is, did Senshi put these markings here to begin with? Or were they here from the start, from his, you know, from the flashbacks we're possibly going to get next episode, or what? My question is, in the flashback, are we going to see that Senshi and his fellow people were attacked by the Griffins, and that's why he has like such a strong fear of them, because the men that he were with were taken by the Griffins and the lunatic magician? I don't know. I don't know if that's what we'll end up with. I guess we'll have to see. Now, I could have told you that the footprints that we saw that look like dino footprints, even though they're Griffins, I know, but the dino footprints were not Fallon's. And the reason I know that is because the feathers that were surrounding the, you know, Griffin's footprints are not white. They were like an off-white beige. And Griffin's feathers and Fallon's feathers have been white. Fallon's feathers are like all white, snow white. That Griffin's feathers were like a more tawny brown. And I was like, oh, that's not Fallon. That's something else. And then, you know, Laios called out saying like, it could be a Griffin. And the moment that Laios says it could be a Griffin, I believed Laios over Marcille. Because I'm like, Marcille, you are so desperate to get to Fallon. You would instantly assume it was Fallon. But the minute Laios is like, well, it could be a Griffin, it's like, no, I believe Laios on this. And that's when Senshi kind of freaks out and is like, oh my God, a Griffin, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then we have, oh my God. So Laios' drawings in the book where the Fallon part with the boobs is like a little stick figure, but then the part that's all monster is like perfectly drawn. Bitch, that is so funny to me. Yep. I've never heard of Griffins being in the dungeon. Well, maybe they're not on the upper floors, but they're down this way, which I find interesting because supposedly in the heart of the dungeon, that's where the winged lion is held. So why are the Griffins allowed to roam free? That's the interesting part about it, is that they're allowed to roam free, but not the winged lion. So why is that? But yeah, Senshi has a freak out moment, points to the mushrooms that are poisonous, and Chilchuk's like, well, I know that we're not supposed to eat that. And that's when Asebi notices the Griffin coming, and it just appears. Which, the animation around the Griffin was amazing. The animation in this episode was so good. I loved it. I thought the Griffin animation was amazing. I was here for it. So then we get our battle starting. And of course, Laios, of course, is like, oh my God, it's a Griffin. And he's freaking out. And meanwhile, Marcel and them are like, Marcel's like got her like ready to go. And meanwhile, Laios is like, I just need to draw it. And she's like, when Marcel's like, all that fuss for nothing, she's like, you got me worked up thinking I'm going to see my girlfriend again. And it turns out to be some damn chicken lion. No. I would make a Minecraft joke, but I don't feel like saying that phrase anymore. So Senshi is like, the last thing we want to do is draw the Griffin's attention because he seems terrified of it. Senshi became that pheasant in Bambi in the one scene. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Bambi. And it's not the scene where deer get shot. Oh no, the hunters are in the forest and this pheasant, there's like a group of 3 pheasants and this one pheasant is losing her mind. And it's honestly, in Bambi, it is the most disturbing scene. A deer being shot? No, whatever. Every day, see it. Off screen, deaths, whatever. No, this pheasant is freaking the fudge out. And she's like, we should just fly. And she's like in the underbrush and the other pheasants are like, no, don't fly. And she's like, we should fly. They're like, they'll hear you. And then the pheasant gets so worked up and she screeches. And because my voice is like half shot, it's not going to do it. But she's like, I can't take it anymore. And she like flies into the air and then the guns like rattle off. And then this pheasant body like drops dead. Terrifying. But the reason I bring it up is because Senshi essentially does that in this scene. He essentially running away is that pheasant and the griffin like swoops him up. I'm real glad that we resolved this whole griffin thing in this episode because I was getting a wee bit nervous. I was getting a wee bit nervous because I thought that what was going to happen was that since she was going to get taken away and we were going to end the season like searching for him and the season was going to end on this cliffhanger of not being able to find him. And I was like, show, don't do this. And so I'm glad that we were able to do the familiars and get him back because I really thought that like the series is just going to pry everybody apart piece by piece until it's like just Laios and Marcille against the lunatic magician. And I really didn't want that to happen. So I'm glad that that wasn't the case. But yeah, Marcel's like, we don't have any weapons. And Laios is like, what are we going to do? What can we do? And he's like, was he taken just like that? And I like that Laios, who, you know, has been foretold through prophecy that he's going to become the new king. I like that Laios is like, Marcille, is there anything we can do? Now, you know what this reminds me of? Delgal and Thistle. A little bit. Do I ship Marcille and Laios? No, I don't. I think they are platonic besties, and I like their relationship as platonic as best. But with that being said, could I see if Laios becomes king, making Marcille his right-hand mage? If Fallon ends up becoming like part of the court, could I see that being a thing? Hell, Laios could become king and Marcille could become his mage, and then she like goes off at night into the barn and there's chicken Fallon and Marcel's like, you better believe it. Like I'm not going to kink shame them. And I think that that's fine. Love is love, bitches. And I think that that's fine. So he's like, is there anything we can do? And I love that she's like, we'll summon familiars to search for him. So she's like, we're mainly going to create rather than conjure. I like that she talks about in her little book, she says there's 3 ways to get familiars. You can either manipulate a creature that is already in existence. So she draws out like the unicorn or the dire wolves or this chimera or the dragon. And when she said that, I thought, okay, well, does a Sebi fall under that practice? Could a Sebi be a familiar? But one, I'm glad that she immediately nixed that idea because I didn't want a Sebi again. A Sebi just got their autonomy back. I didn't want it to be thrown out a second time, but also getting attraction from the lunatic magician from Thistle seems like a bad thing. The second thing is you could alter animals and plants into monsters. But I like for a second we get a victory bell from Pokemon for a second, which was the Venus trap from episodes 2. She's like, that could take an immense amount of time and preparation, and dogs could possibly die, and we're not going to kill puppies. But she's like, or you can create them from scratch, which I do think Marcille is really cool because she's more of like a DIY, like let's just build it from scratch kind of gal. Whereas the lunatic magician seems like somebody that would take advantage of something else already in their possession. Again, forming some differences between Marcille and Thistle, which I think is important. But yeah, she decides to make them. You can make an autonomous creature. I just need one that's mobile. I can't believe she chopped part of her hair off. And the thing about it is, she didn't do it for Fallon. She did it for Senshi. And her and Senshi have had such a tumultuous relationship this entire show that for her to say, no, I'm going to sacrifice part of my hair to help Senshi, I was like, hell yes. Hell yes, girl. Which now she's got this cool asymmetrical thing going on. But I'm like, is she going to cut her hair to match, or is she just going to, I mean, I would hold on to the hair because you never know when you'll need another familiar. And I would just put the hair over it so you can't quite see it, right? Luckily, I mean, it'll grow back out, right? So they get enough food, a week's worth of food from the castle, and they all put it together. And she's like, I'm not going to show you what I'm making. I love that Laios is like, I want to see. And she's like, you'll find out. Get certified to handle dangerous magic through proper channels first. I love that Chilchuck's like, wait a minute. There's a process? I love that she's like, go learn dark magic permissions. And Chilchuck's like, wait, those exist? Like, just, I love it. Poor Laios. He's so sad. But yeah, all the stuff that's inside of what's going to be used for it. What does it look like? She's like, I'm going to end up drawing this. Yeah, okay, so it's like carrots and eggs and onions and cheese and meat and cabbage. So it's basically like stuff for a spring roll, essentially, is what we got going on. She basically made egg rolls. Egg rolls into familiars, which we could probably do at some point. We could make that in our leftovers segment. So Asebi is amazed that they don't know anything about Senshi. And this dungeon was only discovered 6 years ago, which now we have a timeline again. And I'm sure at some point somebody's going to like push their glasses up in the comments and be like, well, actually, since episode 1, they told you that. And I'm going to be like, I've been watching this week to week for 23 weeks. It's been half a year. Leave me alone. But anyway, so we know now that the dungeon's not been open that long, even though it may have been in existence for much longer. And Chilchuck points out he carries around pots and knives that are carved from precious metals. So it could be that he got them, he knows ancient text. He knows a monster that is from a level we haven't explored yet. Chilchuck's like, and he treats me like a kid. So it could be that he's older than we think he is. He also talks about how he could be from the east, which is interesting, but I don't think that's the case. Maybe he's not from the surface at all. And I like that Laios kind of squashes his fears and says, hey, when we rescue Senshi, we'll reintroduce ourselves and we'll start over again. And we'll learn all of these things. But for now, we need to focus on just rescuing him. Which is what we end up doing. The familiar. Oh my God. The familiar that she makes with the alchemy is by far the cutest thing I've ever seen. They are so adorable. They are little peeps. We timed this so right with springtime. They are adorable. Laios' face is not justified. Like, how he's so mad. He's like, they're not ugly and badass. And she's like, they're adorable. And he's like, your monster design and creativity skills are subpar, Marcille. I just love that Laios is so creative with his monster design, and he just cannot stand the fact that her monster making skills are not up to snuff to him. It is the most disturbed we've ever seen Laios, and his face is hilarious. I freaking love it. Yes, please. So yeah, she's like, look, we can't waste our limited resources on this unnecessary details. So I do like the idea that we kind of get her with the familiars, like leading them around, and that their eyes are her eyes. I kind of love that. And that it ends up being like her actions are their actions. Also, Laios is a freaking golden retriever saint by not only like letting her ride piggyback on him, which is so cute, but like just being so nice about it. Like, I love their dynamic so much. They're amazing. I love them. They're great. And so anyway, I love it. It's very Jack and Rose from Titanic, but I love it. So yeah, the little tiny bird. I know there's a manga called Goodnight Punpun, and I eventually am gonna read it, but it looks like the little Punpun bird from that a little bit. Anyway, so we find the nest, which the cleaners are trying to actively get rid of, which is interesting. That means it's not naturally a part of the dungeon, which is cool. And poor Senshi is trapped there. Luckily, I'm glad he's not instantly dead, but the second familiar they take. I like that we didn't do all three familiars at once. We had 3 chances to get it right. And Laios taking charge with the second and third one was such a good idea. So he takes the second one and molds it into one of the wyverns, which, okay, look, we all were there, right? It wasn't just me, right? You all were thinking it too, right? I wasn't the only one, right? It's just him sculpting the wyvern with his hands. Y'all were, Yep, I wasn't the only one, was I? I was the only one. Okay, great. Cool. I mean, he does sculpt the wyvern and then it goes. It gets Senshi the rope, which is great. I love the fact that Marcelle's like, okay, it can't do any damage against the griffin, so now what do we do? And at first, Laios is like, well, Laios gets a little bit out of hand. Laios is like, it's going to breathe fire and ice. I'm like, what are we combining Jon Snow and Daenerys? What are we doing, Laios? Which honestly, Jon Snow and Daenerys, Cabra and Laios, anyway. I honestly think if anybody's at risk of becoming a lunatic in terms of the monsters, it's Laios. So Laios and Marcelle together might be just as deadly of a combination as Thistle. Just saying. Could be. We'll see where that goes. But anyway, she's like, what do I need to focus on? Offense or defense? And I love that she smashes it. And Laios is like, no, my Giga double-headed flamed ice dragon. She's like, we don't need claws or fangs. We just need it to be fast enough and sharp enough to pierce the wing of the griffin and rescue Senshi. And I love that she's like, we need determination and ego to create this miracle. I love it. Her intense passion, which her caressing another eel-like thing. And her prayers made the little, what's she call him, a skyfish. God, I love it. And Laios is like, it's so lame. The humor in this episode is amazing. I love this episode so much. The humor is amazing. I just eat it up. But yeah, she's like, shut up. This is fine. I love it. Which honestly, it ends up being really good. It's like lightning. I love it. I love that she's going all out and like moving her arm, moving her body like it. It's amazing. But it ends up slicing through the wing. And then the thing about it is, I thought Laios at first was going to try to decapitate the griffin, but then I'm like, no, Kensuke as a sword might not be strong enough to go through its thick neck, so just stab it in the heart and let's go. And that's what we end up doing. And then she's like, we should just start cooking and take a break. The little part about the skyfish, though, again, the humor in this episode, I was dying. Because when she's like, no, my sweet, sweet skyfish, you did so much, thank you. And she's like in the shadows, away from the light, and it's so dramatic. She's like, you did well. And it's just like, its little eyes are like this. It's like, skyfish. And then Laios just chops its head off. I was like, oh my God. He's like, amazing. The vegetables are packed like organs. And she's like, I hate every moment of this. I just died. So damn funny. So yeah, it basically is an egg roll, right? It feels like an egg roll. So one thing I've noticed about this series is that whenever somebody is in a wee bit of a pickle, Chilchuck is kind of the one that becomes like an emotional anchor, which is interesting because we've seen him kind of be that way for other characters. But with Senshi, there's this really good moment where, while Marcel's like, I just wanted to mourn him a little bit more, where he's like, hey, you okay? And then he takes the helmet off. So Laios starts cooking up. he starts cooking up. They almost look like sushi rolls, but I thought maybe they could be egg rolls because they ended up dipping them and frying them. And then the wings kind of look like ginger maybe, but it said fish and chips. So we might have to try to make that at some point. Go have to try it. We'll see. But yeah. And then he's like, summoning might actually be a good cookbook, a superior cooking technique. And then Marcel's like, no, it's a waste of food. I like that they tell Asebi to not just eat the wings. And she's like, no, I don't want to. She's like a little kid where they're like, you got to eat the vegetables too. And she's like, no. But Senshi seems really disturbed about this griffin. And he's like, I'm not hungry right now. For Senshi to say that is pretty crazy. So Chiljuk decides to start over, saying, I'm from a small village nestled in a basin northeast of here. And I've spent the last 10 years, about a decade, doing business around different dungeons. From picking locks to interpreting to mediating and appraising, which helps to explain why he's so good at all these random things, although he seems estranged from his wife and daughters. But I haven't seen them in years for various reasons. And Marcel's like, wait, you have a wife and daughter? What? Her face, like, what? And he's like, and that's pretty much my backstory. I love it. Now tell us about yourself. I like that Marcel's the only one freaked out about him having a wife and daughter. Now, I would have been more surprised about that. But unfortunately, in the Discord, there was a piece of fan art shared that had Chilchuck braiding Marcel's hair. And there was a little arrow pointing to it and said, girl dad. And I was like, so what you're saying is that Chilchuck's a dad and he has daughters. So unfortunately, someone shared that fan art. They didn't spoiler tag it, which please spoiler tag. It is very easy to do. And so I did see that. So I kind of knew that he probably had daughters and was married. So that part was not really a surprise to me, but that's literally the only spoiler I've had for this series. So please do not spoil me between now and November. It's going to be real hard, but I have faith in you all. But yeah. So Senshi says his name. Senshi of Izganda. And he talks about how they used to belong to a small mining crew. They didn't mine for ores. They sought relics from before the war, which we don't really know about this war very much. There's been a lot of wars in this series, so who knows? They dreamt of hitting the jackpot. Now, there is somebody off in the corner that looks like maybe they'd be kind of like Tansu, but I don't think so. And then we see kind of the gear that we saw earlier. The majority of our discoveries were ore instead of relics. And finding relics like gears or lenses was a stroke of rare luck. Which, little Senshi is so cute. Okay, that's definitely not Tansu. But yeah, there's a whole group of them that I'm sure will not meet horrible fates. We unearthed something huge, which was the dungeon, an ancient castle gleaming with gold. This very dungeon. So now we gotta figure out what else is there that we don't know about the dungeon yet. This episode was amazing. I love this episode so much. I can't believe we only have 2 episodes left, and one of them is going to be at least partially backstory with Senshi, so that's going to be amazing. But I do know that episode, season 2 of Dungeon Meshi it's releasing in November, I'm pretty sure. Season 2 is going to be in 2025. But I'm pretty sure, I thought I read somewhere that it was going to be like November 23rd. I thought it was going to be somewhere, and I can't remember where I saw that, if it was my anime list or something. I could have swore it said November 2025. So don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that that's correct. I don't want to look too far because I don't want spoilers. But you know what? I think we could make those pancakes. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to make ourselves some pancakes and celebrate the rest of this episode with Senshi and the crew. Celebrate Senshi getting rescued. And then that way we'll have the penultimate episode next week. So if you're not sticking around for the pancakes, then next week will be the penultimate episode. And hopefully my voice will be fully back by then. Fingers crossed. But if you are sticking around, let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to be doing some late night pancake making because it's like after 8 o'clock, but I didn't have dinner yet. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna make some fluffy Japanese pancakes and just roll with it, right? So hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm gonna try to speak up without straining my voice too much. I've got tea at the ready in case I need it. I also have my recipe, which today I have officially gotten from a blog that says IamAfoodblog.com. It was really hard to find a fluffy pancake recipe that was mainly just for one serving because most of them were like, it makes 10 pancakes. And I was like, so this is mainly meant for one serving. So I'm like, cool, great. And it has a very small amount of ingredients, which I'm super excited about. So they did ask for 1 egg yolk, but 2 egg whites. So we got 2 eggs. I know, precious commodities. Then we have 2 eggs, and I feel like the other egg yolk, maybe I can just fry it up and make it into something afterwards. We'll see. We got 2 egg yolks, and then we have a sugar, which I'm gonna be using cane sugar because usually that's the main kind of sugar that I have. And then we also have milk. Now, I know that this fluffy pancake venture is probably not gonna be the way that you all think it should go because one, I'm using cane sugar, but I don't have regular milk. So we might have to go back and revisit this when I have some whole milk because all I have is almond and coconut milk in my fridge right now. I'm gonna say this is probably gonna affect the consistency. I know that it is. I can already hear the hissing through the teeth. This is probably gonna affect it, but you know what? We're just gonna have to work with it. So we're just gonna see where we go from there and see how it goes. It's trial and error, right? As Senshi says, you gotta work with what you got. And then if I redo this, we'll possibly make it with better ingredients. So then we have flour, which we do have just all-purpose flour that we're gonna be using in a very small amount. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon, the tiniest amount of baking powder we're gonna be using. And then for the egg whites, we're also gonna have 1/8 of a teaspoon, even less, of cream of tartar that we have. And then just a tiny bit of sugar. So this calls for whisking, which I've searched this kitchen to see if I had whisking equipment. Y'all, by some shape or miracle, I actually have a hand mixer. I think it was given to me. It might have came with this house, but I think it's just a hand mixer. It's never been used before. So we're gonna use that to whisk up our egg whites into the meringue that's gonna be used for the fluffiness of it. And then from there, we're gonna be folding everything together and going through that. So this seems rather intricate. It's probably not gonna turn out right, but you know what? We're gonna try it. It's gonna at least probably make an edible pancake, if anything. So with that being said, we're gonna get all of our ingredients together and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna start the process. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna wanna do is take our egg yolk that I have here, and the egg yolk, what we're gonna do is whisk. It says to whisk, and I don't wanna use the hand mixer for this particular one, so instead I'm gonna be using like a smaller whisk. And what it says to do is to whisk the egg yolk with a tablespoon of sugar until pale and frothy. And so we're gonna set that there. This is not on, by the way. So we're gonna take a tablespoon of the cane sugar and figure that out. Okay, and it says to whisk in until pale and frothy. So I'm gonna take that. So we're gonna start whisking it in and kind of just do it very gently. I'm trying to be patient. I was told for this recipe you have to be patient. So that's kind of where we're going. We're going to try to be patient as we whisk this together until pale and frothy. I say patient and then I just like dump it all in. Okay, so we're going to whisk that up again with sugar. Get it all mixed together. I don't know if it's necessarily turning paler, and I wish this would stay on. Sometimes websites have it where they'll stay on during the recipe, but this one's not being that way. I don't know if it's kind of turning paler necessarily. With 1 tablespoon till pale and frothy. It does look a little bit frothier though. Maybe it's getting paler. And then it says mix the milk in batches. And then sift the flour and baking powder over the yolk mixture and whisk to make sure everything is well incorporated. Okay. All right, so that's starting to look maybe a little bit frothier. Okay. The one thing they definitely said was that when you actually fold the yolk mixture and the egg whites together, you do not want to overmix, which I remember in Great British Baking Show, our Great Dungeon Baking Show, they were like, do not overmix or it will collapse instantly. Okay, so this is starting to look a little that's starting to get a little paler, a little frothier. I wonder, since the cane sugar is darker, if that affects it, but this is looking a little bit frothier. Okay. Got that whisked, a little bit frothy. All right, so we're gonna take our 2 tablespoons of milk. There's not a lot of these ingredients that are involved in this, which I'm kind of happy about. And we're gonna start incorporating that. Ooh, this is gonna get, yeah. Start to whisk it up. Now it's starting to become like a batter. Now it's gonna get paler. Do that there. If you want a forearm, you're gonna whisk this. Whisk it good. Okay. Add that in there. Okay. Well, the good thing is it seems really smooth. I can't sense any of the sugar anymore. So, like, it doesn't feel grainy at all. So it's got like a more, like, kind of a texture like that to it. Okay. So then, while I'm whisking that, we'll go back to our recipe. It's like, can you multitask at once? Okay. And then sift the flour and baking powder over the yolk mixture and mix well until everything is incorporated. Okay, so we're gonna stop for a hot second. The flour, we're gonna set our sugar over here. With the flour, what we need is 3 tablespoons and then 1/4 tablespoon of baking powder. So we're gonna do baking powder last because that usually is what one of the agents are. So we're gonna go back to this. We're going to do 3 of these suckers. Oh my god. So we're going to do 1. Oh man, this is like instantly making a change. Okay. Get that. And then 2. I don't know if I'm sifting properly. Probably not. And then 3. Okay, we're going to make sure everything is well incorporated. That is the goal. I'm sure I did not sift entirely correctly. And then 1/4 of a tablespoon, which this is 1/3 of a tablespoon, so not quite this, of the baking powder. So most of that. I feel like, you know, guesstimating is okay sometimes, but is this gonna, I feel like even the tiniest measurements being off are gonna ruin this, so, but it's gonna make a pancake either way, so why not? Okay, and then it says mix until everything is well incorporated. Well, that looks pretty well incorporated, actually. That does not look bad. Okay. That looks pretty dang good. All right. So we have part of our egg yolk. So we're going to set that there. Put this over here. We're going to have this for our egg whites. Set that there. Okay, so the next part, this is the part I'm nervous about because I'm actually going to use the mixer on this one, is that you're going to put the egg whites and the cream and tartar until frothy and pale, adding in the sugar a bit at a time until the whites are whisked into glossy, thick meringue that has a stiff peak. Be careful not to over whip. This is terrifying. This is so scary. I could totally mess this up. So we have 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. So I need to, we're not gonna get into that one because it says flour all over it. Instead we're gonna do, I need to actually wash this off so I can use it. This is the part I'm actively terrified for, And so I have sorted out my egg whites. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. They were very clear about if any part of the egg yolk gets in this, it could ruin it. I did have a piece of the egg yolk pop out in this, and I tried to fish it out, but I don't know if I did good enough. So this is so tedious to make a damn pancake. But yes. So what we're going to do next is whip the egg whites in there. So we're going to, in this, put our egg whites. So we have that. And then we have 1/8 tablespoon, which is like half of this, of cream of tartar. So few cream of tartar. Okay. And so then we're going to whisk until frothy and pale, adding in sugar a bit at a time. So I've got the sugar here. And so we're going to start this out on the lowest setting. Okay. Until frothy and pale. Okay, we're getting some mixture. Alright. Frothy and pale. Alright, that looks a little bit frothy. That's getting frothy and pale, and then we're going to add in the sugar a bit at a time. I'm on the lowest setting, so I don't know. I feel like this is going to take the most time. Take 1/3 of the whipped egg whites and whisk it in, and whisk it into the bowl with the yolks until completely incorporated. Add half of the remaining whites and whisk into the yolk batter. Be careful not to deflate. Transfer the egg yolk mixture to the remaining egg whites and whisk, and then use a spatula to fold together. Well, that seems really hard. Now we're getting somewhere. Is this? I was waiting for that to happen. Oh, we're getting close. Okay, is this all now? So close. Okay, this seems okay, maybe? It said until firm, but I feel like this is, okay, that feels okay. Okay. Okay, so from there, it tells us that we have to take 1/3 of the whipped egg whites and whisk it into the bowl with the yolks until completely incorporated. Then add half of the remaining whites and whisk into the yolk batter. Why is this a math problem? I'm not good at math. So, okay, so we have our egg whites. They look better than I thought they would. They actually came together. So we're gonna take 1/3 of that somehow. We're gonna take 1/3 of it. All right. I don't know if I've mixed it well enough because I think, okay, put a gloop of it in. Okay. Gloop it in. It said as soon as you get it in the oil, though, it's going to start to deflate. So I don't know how. So we got that. So then it said to take another, another half of the mixture and glop it in there. So do the gloop. Okay. Okay. So we got that. Let that settle for a hot second. This is messy. Messy. And then, be careful not to deflate. Transfer the egg yolk mixture to the remaining egg whites and whisk and use a spatula to fold. Well, okay. So it says to take it to the next, so we put this now in with this and get that, and I said not to overwork it. I don't think my batter is fluffy enough. I don't think I got my egg whites fluffy enough. I don't think I've succeeded on that front, but we're just gonna fold gently. But I feel like it's already deflated, but it's okay. It's all right. It's a trial and error, right? Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is to heat up this non-stick frying pan with a lid, and it's set on very low heat. So I'm gonna say like low, maybe 1, maybe a solid 1, and just do that. And it said to very lightly brush on oil and use a paper towel to rub it around. Okay. I don't really have like a grill brush or anything, so I'm guessing by brushing it on, maybe put a little bit of oil on the towel and to brush it on that way. I think they want as little oil as possible because it will deflate the pancake if it's too oily even more. So they just want the oil to be rubbed on. That's the only thing I can think of. It said it was going to create like a light film. Okay, it says to scoop the batter out with an ice cream scoop or a measuring cup. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know if I see a film, so I've also used this Pour R2D2 thing for like 5 different things in this recipe, so did what it's supposed to do. Okay, I may have destroyed this burner for all we know from a previous cooking incident. We may never know. But this one's gonna heat up. That one seems like it's getting warm. It doesn't exactly say how long to heat it up, which is why I'm somewhat concerned that I'm gonna scoop these out and they're not gonna be warm enough. But we're gonna go with it. So we're gonna take one out. This is a lot of pancake batter. They're not exactly as fluffity as I would have hoped, and I'll show you all in a minute. They look a little less floofity, which is fine, but you can kind of see they are definitely flatter than I would have hoped. They're not exactly as fluffy as the picture would lead you to believe, but that's okay. That's all right. Okay, so it says scoop the batter on the pan, cover and cook for 4 to 5 minutes. And use it on the lowest setting. So we're gonna put that on there. And we're gonna let those sit for about 5 minutes. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I took that whisk to the sink and tried a little bit of the meringue. It tasted amazing. So yeah, with the sugar and the cream of tartar. So even if these pancakes don't end up rising, I'm gonna say they're probably gonna taste pretty dang good, but we're gonna see. So meanwhile, I've got over here heating up about a tablespoon of butter. I figure I had that extra egg yolk that I did nothing with. So I feel like I might as well just cook an egg, since you would say waste not, want not. So we're gonna do that. We're just gonna swirl that butter around in there. Get all nice and buttery. And do that. And then that way I'll also have my butter over here so I can put it on my pancakes as soon as they're done. Now you can also see probably, I'll kind of show you guys a bird's eye view of this. You can probably see that the pancake over here, the lid is starting to steam up. Like the pancakes are starting to steam inside of that. And then I've got my little butter in my skillet getting all ready to go. Okay. So this was the remaining egg yolk. I've never made like an egg yolk just in that before, so I don't know how that's gonna go. I never just cooked like just egg. Meanwhile, over here, we're gonna take this off and set that aside. I don't have a lot of room on this, but we're going to take our pancake batter, and it said to do a scoop over the top of each. Again, do that. I feel like these are going to look more like silver dollars than they will fluffy pancakes. And then it said to put back on there for another 4 to 5 minutes. So we shall see. In the meantime, this egg yolk is cooking, but not looking great. That doesn't look very appetizing, honestly. And I don't know if it's just because it's just the yolk and it's not going to cook as much. I don't know. I feel like you should be able just to eat it though. Okay, honestly, those ended up cooking up a little bit better than I thought they would. It just took them a little while longer. Whereas the pancakes, you can tell they're going to be pretty flat under there. So we're going to check those out here in just a hot second. Okay, so the eggs ended up turning out a little bit better than I thought they would. So I kind of got them off to the side. They smell amazing. So if anything, they seem like they'll be good. Now, I had to clean off the spatula because it said the next thing to do would be to test the pancakes and see. They should come right off. Nope, they stuck right on there. Oh no, they're not cooking fast enough. Well, uh-oh. That did not come right. That did not go right under like it said it was going to. It should release easily, don't force it. Well, it says gently flip the pancakes at this point, but they're not releasing easy, so I don't know what that means, if that's a good sign or not. What do I do? Okay. We're gonna have to be brave. I am utterly terrified this is going to go horribly wrong. But at this point, what can we do? So, they are like sticking to the spatula. Did I not put enough heat on there? I don't know if I put enough heat. Or if it's just sticky. Is it not hot enough yet? They've been on there for like 10 minutes though. So you would think. It said if you had any batter left over to put it on top, but at this point I'm like, do I just try to flip them or what do we do? Because it's all kind of just splooshed. We're not going to waste any of our pancake batter at this point. We're going to get it all together. At this point I don't think the pancakes are going to be fluffy, so I've kind of given up on that. And instead I just want to not waste the batter if I can. So I'm going to try to put it in here and fold it into this. But I had it on low heat and did pretty much, I feel like I even left them on longer than normal. And they didn't get burnt, they're not even, maybe I didn't do the oil right, or maybe they're just too big. And I think because they've deflated, they might just be too big. And it's hard for them to flip because they're just too big of a pancake. That probably seems, I say that as I'm putting more batter on there. Like they're just too big, it's just too much. Senshi would not be proud of me right now. Okay, well, the most we can try to do at this point. Yeah, see they look a bit flat. So the most we can try to do at this point is just flip them. But I don't know if that's gonna, it's just gonna be a big mess. It's just gonna be a big mess. Oh, it's just a big mess. Things were going so well. They just aren't cooking. It was at this point, Romania knew what she had to do. She just had to cook the pancakes. So they were edible. They're just going to become crepes. And that's okay. I'm just going to eat the eggs at this point because I've just given up. Too much butter. And they're oily. You really need that egg white to balance out that yolk. Let me tell you. As good as these smelled, I tell you what, tonight was not the night. Those pancakes terrify me because I want them to be so good. But I don't know if we can get them cooked or not. All right, let's effing go! Oh, well, now they're maybe cooking. Oh my gosh, these are a disaster. These were an unmitigated disaster. I blame a lot of factors. Potentially the milk, potentially the sugar, potentially not enough oil, potentially too much oil. Oh my God. I just want them to cook at this point so I can eat them. But now it's like the mixture, I'm trying to just get it all in the center to make something, and it looks like I've slaughtered something in the center of this pan. And I think the meringue, because it's meringue, it's not doing what it could do. What'd you do at 9 o'clock at night, Romania? I made a shitty pancake. This had so much promise, and then it all went to hell. It flipped, but not in the way that you wanted it to. I'll show you what it looks like. Just brace yourselves, lads. I don't even know why I put butter on it, like it's gonna salvage it. Everything was going so well until it all failed. When I go to Japan, I'm gonna eat a dozen of these so I can taste an actual souffle pancake, but this was just... Senshi would be so disappointed in me. The texture! The texture! Okay, let's have a piece without the butter. Maybe it'll be edible. It's just sad. It just tastes of what could have been. The butter helps. The parts that did get cooked are fine. They taste like a pancake, but I'm so disappointed. I feel like I either overmixed, or I didn't incorporate it right, or I didn't use the right ingredients. The cane sugar might not have been good, but the meringue tasted so good that I was like, okay, this is gonna be great. And then, nope. So, well, you live and you create monstrosities, and then you go get a bowl of cereal. Man, the good news is, I suppose, other than the 2 eggs that I used for this, I didn't use a lot of ingredients at all. So I guess the moral of the story is that if you were gonna waste something, this was the recipe to waste it on, because I really only used like 2 tablespoons of milk and like 2 eggs. So the eggs were really the only things that I wasted on this. And I learned that I can use a hand mixer. It's just the rest of it is maybe not ready for. Bummer, man. Well, that's all right. Hopefully you all got a laugh at my expense as I tried to make the souffle pancake. It is not as easy as it looks, and it is not as simple as they made it out to seem. So that's all right. We'll just see what other recipes are in the next 2 episodes, and maybe for leftovers we'll just do that. I don't know if y'all want me to try Eggs Benedict. I don't know if you all want me to try that or not. We'll just have to see. But I do know what I can make for breakfast, and I'm about to go do that. So anyway, I hope you all have. I keep eating it. It's like not inedible. It's okay. It's just sad. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week for the penultimate episode and hopefully some better cooking adventures with Delicious in Dungeon. Bye.